Good, YouTube. We're back for the Xfinity Series race at Talladega Superspeedway. Really excited for Talladega this weekend. Already made a Cup Series video. If you guys want to give that a watch, I'm gonna put it up in the corner. I also made a lineup construction breakdown on how to make lineups for Talladega. I'll put that up there too. Guys, should go check that out. Those are both really good, really important videos, but they're for the Cup Series, so I'm not making a separate video for lineup construction on the Xfinity Series, but I am gonna run over it real quick. I'm gonna go through the past optimal lineups in 1 second. But before I get into that, before we get into this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, turn notification bell. All that stuff really helps me out, and I've been growing this channel. I've been doing pretty good, I feel like. Leave a comment, let me know what I can improve on, what I'm doing well, stuff that you guys want to see, anything for that. I'm going to ask a question before we go in here today. Do we feel like it's better to go really cheap with these lineups and play guys like Jeff Green, John Jackson, and Mason Massey? Or are we going to want to play a lot of mid-tier guys? Let me know in the comments what you guys think and who you think the best play in the Xfinity Series race is for today. I also started a Patreon that just dropped today. You pay $10 a month, and you get all my spreadsheets for weekly spreadsheets, cheat sheets for all 3 NASCAR series, as well as articles and rankings for every single race. If you want to go check that out, I'll put the link in the description, as long as my Twitter at DFSNateLane and my Instagram at NateLane_. I'm very active. You should hit me with a follow over there. All right, let's get going. We got optimal lineups in the past. It's just last year's Daytona or last year's restrictor plate races and this year's Daytona race. So you had the Daytona 2019, it's not Daytona 500, the Xfinity Daytona 500 2019, Justin Allgaier, Austin Cindric, Brandon Jones, Ryan Sieg, Michael Annett, and Jeff Green. You had guys that started in 15th, 13th, 16th, 3rd, 6th, and 21st. So that's a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from the Cup Series, but that's the only one that's like that, as you're about to see. 2019, we had Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Garrett Smithley, Brandon Brown, Landon Castle, Josh Williams. We had starting positions of 2, 10, 33rd, 32nd, 22nd, and 16th. So that's usually what we're more accustomed to seeing at Daytona and Talladega, is guys that start farther in the back. At Daytona 2019, we had Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Brandon Brown, Jeremy Clements, Stephen Light, and Ray Black Jr. We had starting positions of 19th, 4th, 33rd, 37th, 25th, and 36th. And at Daytona 2020, we had Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton, Alex Labbe, Timmy Hill, J.J. Yeley, and Joe Nemechek. Starting positions of 12th, 8th, 19th, 26th, 35th, 34th. So what that really tells me is when you're building lineup constructions, and the salaries, 2 of them were close to the salary cap, the other ones were way under. So you're probably going to, because of what I've seen in the Cup Series too, I feel like you're going to want to go more underneath the salary and not hitting the salary cap, more in the 4,500 range. It's just like the Cup Series where not the filling up the salary isn't probably going to be the optimal lineup. It could, but it most likely won't. Based on what I've seen from the salaries already, just looking at them. So in your lineup construction, I think you're gonna. Well, if you look at the laps led, we had a 45 lap lead, of 34, of 49, and then 19 at Daytona. But Daytona this year was an interesting race. All the pit stop strategies were differentiated, and there was no caution to put everything out. But that's just how that race ended up going. But you are probably gonna want to get one lap leader in there with a bunch of guys that can get a bunch of PD upside. So I'm saying you're going to probably want to get 2 to 3 guys starting 30th on back. I'd say 1 guy in the top 15 in a lineup, and then just other guys are starting in the 20s or even the teens. That's how I'm going to go about it. What you guys think are going to get the place differential is what you're going to need to go for this race, just like in the Cup Series. All right, let's get going with driver by driver. We got AJ Allmendinger at the top, and right off the bat, I'm going to start with a great place differential play. Probably going to be the most popular play on the slate, especially with the fact that there's so much value down at the bottom of the place differential that guys are just going to be like, oh, I'll play AJ Allmendinger. I mean, he's a great play. AJ Allmendinger, ever since he's gotten back into Xfinity Series in the past 5 races, has been running great with an average finish of 5.5. I know it doesn't really matter as much at Talladega, but he has been running really well for Colleague Racing. Their cars look really fast, and he starts 34th here. At a restrictor play, he has an average running position of 6, which ranks 2nd. It looks like he's wrecked in his races that he's ran, but he does have a very good average running position at Talladega, or at restrictor plates. He hasn't raced at Daytona, it's been Daytona, I guess. So he looks really good for this race. I don't see what could lead me off of AJ Allmendinger playing him starting 34th in a fast car. If he wrecks, but I mean, that's just what Daytona or Talladega are, they're just wreck fest. So AJ Allmendinger does look really good. I don't know if he'll be able to get up front and lead laps, but a top 5 finish is definitely in the cards for AJ Allmendinger, and he's been running so well he can even win. So that's just going to be huge place differential upside, where I think he easily should outscore Allgaier, Burton, Briscoe, Chastain, Gragson, Cindric, Jones, all of them, unless they lead like 100 laps, which is probably not going to happen. But up next, we got Justin Allgaier. He starts 12th. Allgaier at Daytona and Talladega have not been his strengths. Well, we all know his strengths are short tracks. He does, however, have the best average running position at Talladega, but he has not finished well. 8th best average finish at Talladega and 11th best at restrictor plates. He's run pretty well here. Could he get up front and lead laps? I mean, yeah, he does have the most laps led at Talladega in the field, but we also don't have Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, guys in the past that have been really good here that are not here anymore. So, and a lot of these guys like Gragson, Briscoe, Burton are all new and could easily lead the laps. I don't think this is a race where I'm going to try to get as many lap leaders, because I think it's just so unpredictable who's going to lead the laps, because none of these guys have really gotten to a race in this competition to see who can lead to more laps. But one of them probably will, so I'm probably going to, just spread all my ownership between all Allgaier, Burton, Briscoe, Chastain, Gragson, Cindric, and Jones. All of them are probably going to spread out ownership, and I'll have some of each of them. Harrison Burton never raced at Talladega in the series, but in his one restrictor plate race at Daytona, he did finish second, so that looks really good. He led 9 laps in that race as well, so I mean, he's definitely got the upside. I think he's in a really good car. He's a good driver, but he is 10,300. He starts 11th. There's a little bit of place differential upside there, but it's not like AJ Allmendinger. Like, it's just not. Up next we got, I mean, AJ Allmendinger's just like, you gotta play him, man. I mean, it's just, he's going to outscore these guys more than likely, unless he wrecks. As long as he doesn't wreck, he's gonna outscore them. Next we got Chase Briscoe, starts 4th, that one scares me more, because I don't like at least with Allgaier and Burton, I have some place differential like floor there, but Briscoe I don't. 4th place. Got the 3rd best average finish at Talladega and the 5th best at the restrictor plates, 8th best average running position at Talladega, and 10th at the restrictor plates. So he's been good here. He has 9 laps led at Daytona and 14 at the restrictor plates. So it hasn't been a super strong track here, but he's been solid. So that seems good to me. Next we have Ross Chastain, whose average finish at Talladega sucks, obviously, but that's just a wreck, I'm pretty sure. But he has done, he's run very well at Daytona. I mean, he has 79 laps at restrictor plates over the last 2 years, and 72 of those are at Daytona. So I do like Ross Chastain here. He looked really great here at Daytona last year and led a bunch of laps. And I think that's definitely a guy who could get up front and lead a ton of these laps, maybe. And you never know. He could work with colleague racing teammate AJ Allmendinger, so that could really help him out. Next, we have Noah Gragson, who's just been lightning fast, won at Daytona earlier this year, so he's definitely in the cars to win this race again. I think he's someone that could get up front and lead some laps, just not a lot of place differential upside. Again, I'm going to say this over and over again. Allgaier, Burton, Briscoe, Chastain, Gragson, Cindric, Jones, if you are going to play them, which you don't have to play them. You really don't have to play these guys at all, especially if you're just playing cash. But if you are going to play some of these guys, they have to be one of them in a lineup. You cannot do 2 of them. It's just, I mean, it could happen, I guess, theoretically, both of them lead 50 laps each, and both finish in the top 5, but realistically, that's not going to be what you want. And I really suggest spreading these guys really out, not having a lot of any of them. So yeah. So there's Noah Gragson. Austin Cindric, same thing. He hasn't been as good at these tracks as some of the other guys up there. He does have the 3rd best average running position at Talladega. That's only really good stat there, but everything else has been mediocre. Brandon Jones starting 6th has been pretty solid here. 3rd best average finish at Talladega, 4th at restrictor plates, 7th best average running position at Talladega, 13th at restrictor plates. And I don't think that you should, if you're making one lineup, maybe just play Allmendinger and leave those guys alone, which is probably going to be really chalky and everything, but that's cash lineups. But if you're playing a tournament, more than likely one of these guys is going to win a race, because they're just so much better than everybody else in the series right now, except for maybe Michael Annett, who's shown speed at super speedways before. You expect one of these guys to win the race and probably going to lead a bunch of laps. So one of these guys is probably going to be the optimal lineup. You don't know which one it is though. So if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I would spread these guys out a little bit. But I would also run some lineups with none of them in there. It's not guaranteed run them in a lineup, Up next, we got Alex Labbe, starts 27th. Labbe was in the optimal at Daytona, and I mean, he could do it again. He doesn't have a great average finish at Talladega, but at the restrictor plates, he does have the 18th best, which isn't great, but he does offer a really high floor. 12th best average running position at Talladega is good, though, and 15th best at restrictor plates. So Alex Labbe looks like someone who could, I mean, he's got the floor. He's 9,200, which is expensive, but I mean, you're going to be leaving salary over on the table most likely, so it doesn't even really salary. I keep saying this, probably doesn't even matter. Just play the guys you think are going to score the most points this week, and that's who you got to play, because more than likely the top 5 or 6 highest scoring drivers will be the optimal lineup, and it's not always like that in races, because you'll have guys that finish second that score more points than the guy who finishes 11th, but because that guy started 16th and was in 6th K, he outpays that guy, values that guy and is in the optimal instead. So, but this week it's probably top 6 scorers. Up next we have Josh Williams at 9K, starts 24th. Another guy that offers a good floor and a good ceiling for place differential. He's got the 9th best average finish at Talladega. 22nd best at restrictor plates isn't great, but he does have 13th best average running position at Talladega and 20th. So, I mean, it's not great. It's not exciting. You're not like, oh, Josh Williams, let's go. Same with Alex Labby, let's go. I'm really excited to play these guys like you are. Allmendinger, seeing him start 34th. But these are the kind of guys that could just sneak into that optimal build, and they're guys that I'm going to be interested to play. Jeb Burton starting 8th. Really not too interested here. I know he's driving the 8 car for Junior Motorsports, but I just don't. I mean, he hasn't ran. I'm pretty sure he hasn't raced, or he might have raced at Daytona. So I mean, it's just he hasn't been great here. He's not someone I'm really expecting to do too well. Starting 8th, just I don't feel like has a ton of upside to like get up front and lead laps. So it's probably gonna be a fade for me. Then we got Mike Snyder starting 31st. He's in the 93 for RSS Racing, not in the 21 car this week. I think Snyder's interesting. He wrecked in Daytona, but he was also in a different car. The car's not great, but just because he starts 31st, you gotta like take stabs at him. Like, it's just all these guys, you have to play them. You have to play these guys starting in the back. Up next, we have Jeremy Clements, who did peek into an optimal lineup in there somewhere. I don't remember which race it was. Starts 19th. He has been bad at the restrictor plates. And in all honesty, I'd rather just play 100 more for Mike Snyder, who has way more place differential upside. Now, Jeremy Clements, yeah, he can theoretically finish top 5 and be huge. And I mean, he's not a guy that you just want to completely ignore, but I'm not like overly excited to play Jeremy Clements here. I think 19th is starting spot, and I think that there's going to be guys that outscore him just based on the fact that he's not starting as far back. But he has shown speed here to pass. It's just the finishes have just not gone well for him. So a little nervous there. Michael Annett starting 2nd at 8,300. I'm just not going to play anybody that starts 2nd. First, 2nd, 3rd place. All 3 of them not playing today. I don't think Annett's. I mean, I guess Annett dominated the Daytona race a few years ago, but other than that, it's not been like anything fantastic. Do I expect him to lead some laps? Yeah, he'll probably lead a few here and there, but I don't expect him to be like dominating, and he has no place differential upside, just one spot he can move up. So it just doesn't feel like Michael Annett, unless he leads a ton of laps, is going to pay off that salary, and I'm not going to bank on someone starting 2nd to lead a ton of laps at Daytona, or Talladega, my bad. Anthony Alfredo, never raced in a restrictor plate in the Xfinity Series, so that should be fun. But every single week with Anthony Alfredo, I say the same thing. He's driving for RCR in the number 21 car. Tyler Reddick was dominant in that car. Alfredo's run like top 10 all year in that car. I mean, let's look at the last 5 races for Alfredo. He's got an average finish of 12th, which isn't like amazing, but it's still really, really good. Finished 4th in one of the Miami races last week. He's been very, very solid, very, very fast. So he starts 10th though, which just doesn't give me a lot of place differential upside. And again, like I'm okay with playing these guys in the top 10 because I think they can get up front and dominate this race and lead a bunch of laps, and then one of them finishes in the top 5, they can be huge. But I don't think Anthony Alfredo can do that. I just don't think he's as talented as those guys. So I can't believe that. I'm going to not play Anthony Alfredo this week because I've been literally just throwing him into every lineup basically the last few weeks, but I just don't think he's the way to go. Up next, we have Brett Moffitt starting 20th. Now, Brett Moffitt's someone I actually do kind of like here, $8,000. He's got a lot of experience across 3 series in this. Well, I don't know if he ever ran a Cup Series race, and he probably did. But over the super speedways, he's got more experience at the super speedways than a lot of these drivers. He's got the 6th best average finish at Talladega in Xfinity, 15th at restrictor plates. He's got the 5th best average running position at Talladega and 11th at restrictor plates. And he's got a high floor. He's got like a lot of spots to move up. He can finish top 5. Should be able to finish top 10 as long as he doesn't wreck. So Brett Moffitt looks good to me. Looks fine at 8K. I like that play. Tommy Joe Martins. He's had a lot of bad luck recently. Just seems to get caught up in wrecks, or at the beginning of the race, his car wouldn't go at Miami. He was like down 17 laps to start, which sucked. So yeah, but he does start 32nd. He can move up spots. If you want to think that his bad luck's going to run out, that's fine. He does have the 12th best average finish at Talladega, 14th best at restrictor plates, 17th best running position at Talladega, and 22nd restrictor plates. So he could totally get up into the top 15 possibly. Maybe he'll get his first top 10. I mean, shoot, it's Talladega. Maybe he'll freaking win the thing. Wouldn't that be something? So I don't hate him. I like him better than Herbst. Herbst just seems like to wreck everywhere, and at Talladega, he's definitely going to wreck. He wrecked, I think it was either the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series. I vividly remember playing Riley Herbst at Daytona earlier this year and him wrecking and me being really pissed off. So, I don't remember if it was Trucks or Xfinity. It was probably Xfinity because that's what he's been running all year, but maybe been both, to be honest. But I just don't, 22nd, he doesn't have a good average finish at restrictor plates, 24th best, and 14th best running position is fine. Could he get those points? Yeah, I don't hate the play. I just would rather play Tommy Joe Martins, who starts 10 spots farther back, and I think Herbst is crash prone. So is Tommy Joe Martins, so I guess that's fair, but I don't know. I just don't think Herbst is one of my favorite plays of the week. Justin Haley, I know he has the best average finish at Talladega and the third best at restrictor plates. And yeah, Haley's been great at these tracks over the past few years. But he starts on the pole and there's just no place differential upside. He has to lead laps to pay off the salary. And a lot of them. Do I really think that Justin Haley is going to outscore someone like Myatt Snyder or something? Probably not. It could happen if all these place differential guys get I keep wanting to say hurt. This isn't basketball or football. I'm so excited for those sports. But if those guys wreck, then yeah, maybe. But I don't want to bank on have to play the pole sitter at Talladega. It just doesn't work out. Same with Ryan Sieg for me starting third. Not a guy I expect to really get up front and lead laps. That's really about it for those two. We got Jeffrey Earnhardt, 7,200 starting 13th. That car is not that good. He is not a guy that he just starts too close to the front for me. And if I'm really doing only one guy that starts in the top 15 in every lineup, I'm playing all of these guys before Jeffrey Earnhardt. Even Haley, I'm playing before Earnhardt. No, I'm not. I'm playing Earnhardt before Haley and Sieg. But I don't think that Earnhardt has the upside. Brandon Brown's a maybe for me. I could see sprinkling him in there. He starts 15th. He does have the 7th best average finish at Talladega and the 8th best at restrictor plates. 14th best average running position at Talladega and 19th at restrictor plates. So Brandon Brown's been pretty solid at Talladega and Daytona. It's just he starts 15th. I just don't think there's a lot of upside. I don't really expect him to be contending for a win at the end of this thing, but he could. He's looked faster this year than he ever has in his career, so he's been running pretty well. I don't hate it. Matt Mills, this is an interesting one, as you do see Matt Mills has some decent stats for Talladega, but he is not in the same car as he used to be. The car this year is just nowhere on the same level as it's been. It's not fast. It's not really good. And if you look at the optimal lineups, I don't know. It's just, I don't think that, I'd rather play Colin Garrett for 400 less. I think he's in a better car and at least somewhat competitive equipment. I don't think Matt Mills' equipment's that good. He's a fine play, I guess, if you want to take a stab there, but it's just his car is just not that great. If you look at what he's been running this year, average finish of 29.75 isn't good. So, Timmy Hill, though. Timmy Hill I like. Timmy Hill, if you guys watched the Xfinity Series race at Daytona, Timmy Hill was a top 5 car. He was in the optimal lineup. He finished top. He was great. He was great. And I think that's going to make people want to play him again, which is fine. And I don't hate playing Timmy Hill. He's only 6,700. We need place differential guys in our lineups. So Timmy Hill's fine for me. Could he get up front? He's not going to win, but he could be competitive and he can get a top 10, top 15 finish in this race and easily smash that salary. So I do like Timmy Hill a lot. He ran very well at Daytona. He looks to be whenever Timmy Hill gets a chance to be competitive, he's competitive. I'm a big Timmy Hill believer that if he was in better equipment, he would be a better driver. He's as good as his equipment. So he'd be more consistent. So I think, but this is a track where he can get up front and run well. Next, we have Colin Garrett starting 39th. Yeah, Colin Garrett is a good play for me. If you just look in his last 5 races, the average finish is 28.25, but he hasn't been running bad. He's been up there in the top 28 points in a race, and this is Daytona or Talladega where you just need place differential upside, and that's what Colin Garrett brings us, starting 39th place. I don't know, is that dead last? Yeah, it's dead last. So, there's only up for him to go. So I don't hate Colin Garrett. He could get a top 20 here, destroy that salary. Gray Galding, if you recall, 2 years ago, Gray Galding finished second, or was it last year? It was last year to Reddick at Talladega. Gray Galding finished second. So, he's fine for me. Starting 21st, he has place differential upside. That's what I'm saying. Talladega, all these guys, and I'm always no, don't play them. You can play them this week. Literally all of them. Fincham, you can play Chad Fincham. He has been bad this year, but Talladega is a place where he could get out and bust out a top 20, destroy the salary, top 15 if he stays out of trouble. Joe Nemechek, Nemechek and Harmon, though, those cars aren't good. Not interested in playing them. But Joe Graf Jr. is someone I am. I mean, starting 23rd position, he is a driver that has a car that runs, around the top 20, near the top 20 all day. He's someone that is going to be competitive, try to win the race. He can hang around the field, and he can move up into the top 10 by the end of the race. This is a guy that could end up being in the optimal very, 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 very easily. If you notice, it's a trend, bro. All these drivers can be in it. That's why Talladega is so hard. You just got to throw in the guys at the back and hope that you get the right combination of guys that move up. Up next, we have Jesse Little starting 18th. Jesse Little hasn't been fast this year, and starting 18th is not where I want. He does not have enough place differential upside for me to want to play him in a car that I don't believe is really that capable of getting up. I don't believe that many of these cars are capable of getting up to the top 5. But when they start so much farther back, yeah, I believe they can get to the top 15 and the top 10, and they have way more spots to move than Jesse Little. Up next, we got Mason Massey at 5,400, starting 35th. Yeah, I got no data for Mason Massey, but his average finish this year is 26, and he's a guy that starts in the back who's going to be in a car that isn't just going to not be competitive at all. So he's fine for me. I think he's a good place differential play at 5,400. Vinnie Miller starting 28th is another guy. I do think he's in BJ McLeod Motorsports car. I think he can move up a ton of spots as well. I don't hate him. 12th best average finish at Talladega, 13th at restrictor plates is pretty damn good in my opinion. So I think he can move up some spots, get into the top 15, top 10 if it's that many cars running at the end. So he's definitely someone I like for place differential. But now we got McLeod, Cesar Baccarello, and Robbie Lyons that all start too high up. No way I'm playing those guys. John Jackson, I don't really expect him to be that competitive. He's in a car that's not going to really be able to hang around the front. Same with Jeff Green, and Cody Vanderwall literally wrecks every single race, so I would not want to play him. But, I'm not interested in Jeff Green or John Jackson that much, and it's not like you need to play these guys. You could just play Mason Massey. You're going to have the salary left over to play. You're going to be leaving, if in all honesty, every lineup should at least have $1,000 left on the table, but, $5,000, $6,000 left on the table is fine for Talladega. I think it's going to be a wreck fest, the Xfinity Series. None of these guys practice at Talladega. A bunch of these guys never raced here in an Xfinity car. I think it's going to be just absolutely carnage. Just hopefully I get hopefully I get a lineup with 6 drivers that survive everything and win the freaking tournament. So that would be nice. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's really all I got to say on Talladega. Like I said in the Cup Series video, there's not as much to talk about Talladega because it really is just all about where they start. Not a bunch of data to really get into. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like, make sure to hit that subscribe, make sure to leave a comment, turn on the notification bell, help me out. All that stuff is I'm really grateful for everything I've gotten so far from this. If you want to sign up for my Patreon, I'll put the link in the description. I'll put my Twitter and my Instagram in the description. And yeah, that's really about it. I hope one of you guys take down a tournament this week, unless it's me. So I hope you guys finish second to me. That's really all I got to say. Thanks for watching, guys.